99.9 Punk World Radio FM. We are joined by Ontario's own. We got December right here live on the radio station airwaves, courtesy of Wham Productions. How you guys doing tonight?
Hello.
Hey, good to see you. Thanks for having us.
We are doing quite swell. We're happy to be here.
And I got to say, we already got fans up in here too. Local Goon says December forever. So I will agree.
That sounds about right.
I will agree. The band December forever. The month December, hell no.
Yeah.
I guess I'm more of a Grinch around Christmas time. So when it hits December, I'm just like, no.
I am not a winter person. I know you are. I am not.
Yeah, few of us are in this band, which is funny that we call ourselves December, but hey.
I don't mind the winter. I just don't like December because all you hear is Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas. And it's like, all I want is for you to shut up, Mariah.
That's completely valid.
But I know you guys are busy individuals. So of course, I'm not going to take you away from your time too long. But I got to take you back to the beginning of this amazing band and just ask, like, how did you guys actually come together to form this phenomenal band, December?
Should I take this one? All right. Oh, so we've all known each other for a long time. Adam and I have known each other since we were like 7. We all went to high school together. These two elementary school, us elementary school, all high school. And in high school, we liked a lot of the same music, and we talked about making a band back then. The only problem was we weren't very good. So it took us about 12 years to go off and do our own thing. And eventually we were just hanging out, and we were just like, I think it'd be cool to give it a shot. And we all already knew each other, and we all had worked with each other in smaller ways, so there was really no growing pains. But yeah, it was just good friends who've known each other for a long time finally saying, let's do this.
I think it's interesting that we have individually been in bands with each other separately, and now we're kind of coming together as this 4 of us.
Yeah.
And you can tell that you guys have been good friends for a long time just because of the fact that, you have very, very good chemistry.
We try.
Nobody else would put up with us.
That's it.
Yeah, this is what's left,
It's funny, too, actually, because I know at the show we were playing in January, the Wham Production show, a comment that we got a lot was that the favorite part for some people of our show wasn't even when we were playing. It was just when we were up there joking around with each other. Yeah. Which it's got to be genuine.
And I think it comes in kind of with our writing too, because I feel like nobody's really worried about backlash or anything like that. We all banter real vibe with each other, so I think that sort of lends to making some good music.
I don't think there's any egos.
Yeah.
And it's always good when there's no egos in a band, because I've interviewed so many bands, and they actually told me how being in a band's kind of like a marriage. So if you got that perfect band marriage, you guys are golden. But I've heard some pretty crazy stories about how people what takes one member to not get along with the others, and then it just blows the whole thing up. So it's good to hear that December has that good chemistry and that good band marriage,
So far.
Yeah,
hopefully I didn't jinx it,
Like Adam said, we were all in other bands separately before coming together to form this one. So we knew the ins and outs of maintaining those kinds of relationships. And thankfully, we've just all known each other long enough and trusted each other long enough to write bad music together. So we don't have to feel bad about it.
And also, I do know you told me actually the story about this before we went live, but one thing I do like asking certain bands when they come on, they have a very unique name. I absolutely love it. Obviously, you guys are called December, but it's spelt a little bit differently. The dis is kind of broken up from the Ember. Can you tell us the story actually behind your band name, and how did you guys put the slash or the dash in December?
I can elaborate a little bit.
Sure.
Originally, we kind of landed on December because when we started writing an album before we'd even decided on a band name, and I kept making jokes being as long as we have until December, as long as the songs are done by December, I'm happy. Spoiler alert, they were not done by December. We took way longer. But we kept bringing up December, and eventually, I can't remember, we literally had a talk in this room, and we were just like, what if it's just called December? And then I went out to dinner with a friend later that night to catch up, and I told him it's going to be called December, and he literally took out a napkin and wrote it with the slash, and he was like, write it like this. And I was like, that looks cool. So I took the idea. But it was as simple as that.
I think afterwards too, we kind of expanded it as well, because we have our album 12, there's a lot of like sort of symbolism in some of the artwork and the like type styles that we're using to like match to December and 12 and things like that. So it was an interesting like pattern that we came up with there.
Yeah.
And we have a question from Sydney Nicole. She said, "What's your favorite song to play, and why is it Aimless?" I think she might have already know exactly what your guys' favorite song is by the sounds of it.
I think we should answer that question.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sydney. It's Aimless it's funny because that's like the first song we sat down to write together, and it actually might be my favorite song to play because it's just so fun. It's like we closed our set with it. And it's just a lot of energy. The chorus is really big, and it's just good vibes, So can't ask for more.
Aimless is really fun. I like to play something real because I don't have to play guitar on that one, so it's a lot less work, and I can kind of just let loose a little bit. So that one's always fun. But
I'm also team Something Real. I think that's the most fun song to play. It's so vibey, especially on the bass. It's very clean.
I am ironically team anti-Aimless in that there's a bunch of parts where I went out of my way to try to write, cool sounding guitar parts, solos or whatever on this record. But the chords that Chris wrote for the intro and Aimless are so deceptively annoying to play that it makes me look like I don't know what I'm doing, which is debatable anyways. But to go out and play it live makes me a lot more nervous than it probably should.
Yeah, the intro for Aimless, you kind of have to twist your fingers a little bit. It's a little weird.
And also, December 12th, 2024, you guys actually released your debut 12-track studio album titled 12. I was wondering, what is the story and inspiration behind this amazing album? And of course, where can we snag ourselves a copy today?
Do you want to answer that?
I think it was really more just a mental satisfaction thing after we ran with the December naming convention. We had 12 songs written that we were really happy with. So, why don't we call the album 12? And December is the 12th month, and we'll release it December 12th. And so it really just felt right to kind of stick with that theming and make the product feel cohesive for our first release, making sure that everything was consistent. And in terms of where you can find it, we're available on all platforms, streaming, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, etc. But we do have it in the works to have physical copies of our record for upcoming shows as well. So that should hopefully be something that we have available soon.
I just want one for myself. Just being able to hold it and be like, it's real, A cool thing about the album too, actually, you mentioned the 12 songs. There was no songs that got cut. Like normally with a lot of bands, you'll hear that they'll write like a bunch of songs and then they condense it to the best ones. Every song we wrote made it. Like there was no song we started and we're like, nah, like let's scrap it. Like everything we started, we made the album. So
There were some changes for sure.
Yeah, there were changes.
Songs, but like we were all really happy with like the 12 that we came out with.
Yeah.
Was anything close to being cut? Like, were you kind of like, man, like this one I feel like should go or anything? Or was it completely like they're all 12 of them were already had a solid place on the album?
There's a song in the middle of the album called Maybe I Should Go that I wrote. And originally I was trying to do this like acoustic thing with like a hip hop beat underneath it. I was thinking like take I Miss You from Blink-182 and Where'd You Go by Fort Minor and put them together. I was trying to do that, but the drum beat I had was just not doing it. I know you guys weren't sold on it yet.
It clashed for me a little bit, for sure, yeah.
But I felt so good about the song that I was like, I want to work on this till we're all happy. And all we did was take that pattern out and simplify the song a little bit, and then that completely changed it. Yeah. But that song almost got, if there was any song that was going to get cut at one point, it was that one. Mm-hmm. But then we reworked it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that experience with that song was really a great example of how our connection as people has allowed us to make the progress that we have, and that you take other people in a similar situation with a hard conversation like that where you say, hey, I'm not really feeling this song, or like this part doesn't sit right with me. In other cases, it could have been a lot more complicated to rewrite a song or talk about potentially cutting it. But, Chris is such a great songwriter that we all trust him to make changes to fit something that everybody's happy with. And we ultimately came to that conclusion ourselves and were able to work through it. And so a combination of us knowing each other for so long and just having trust in our tastes as musicians sort of allowed us to get it to a point where we were happy with all of the songs.
And also, we do have a lot of fan questions coming in. I want to let people know I'm not ignoring them, but I have one more question about this album before we actually jump to those. And speaking of just this amazing album 12, one of the singles is called "I Picked a Bad Day to Quit Smoking," which is one of my favorite songs actually off this record. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about this song, and of course, how is the quitting smoking process going today for you four?
Well, so it's funny. So I know we talked about this earlier. The song's actually called "I Picked a Bad Day to Quit Drinking," but it's a long title though. So like, I actually, when we originally uploaded it, I misnamed it by accident, and I had to talk to the distributor and get them to fix it. It took a couple days, but I think it's still valid because you sort of dealt with that. Where I called it that because I took like a half year off from drinking, and I know last year you went like fully sober for a whole year.
Yeah.
So I think the question still applies.
Yeah.
Do you want to touch on that?
I mean, I thought it, because the song is kind of like, it has like a fun, like upbeat punk sound to it. So I figured like a naming scheme of like, how old school like emo punk bands would have like ridiculously long song titles. I feel like it was also part of the lyrics as well.
It was
like a full line. So it felt kind of fitting. It has a lot of personality. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Well, I just know that when I was writing the song, like I said, I took 6 months off of drinking, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna feel so much better about myself. But literally, when I did that, a bunch of stuff in my life started, kind of going wrong. And I remember I literally had a point where I was like, oh man, I picked a bad day to quit drinking. Like I said it. So yeah, it's an upbeat, fun song, but the lyrics are a little. I don't want to say dark, but you get what I'm getting at.
It's like it's a fun, like, where the sonic character of the song is like really fun and upbeat, but the lyrical content is a bit troubling.
A little, not dark, but troubling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of those ones.
But yeah. That's
jumping into these fan questions, Frankie wants to know, when will you record live drums?
Tyler.
As soon as possible.
We've talked about it.
We were talking about it.
Yeah. Actually today, yeah.
I would love to do live drums. It's just such a big operation doing that because you got to like mic up everything and make sure it sounds like good, because drums are such a loud instrument. It's hard to capture it without the right like equipment and training. But the short answer is we'd love to do it as soon as we can.
We literally were talking about it earlier today.
Yeah.
And to touch on that as well, for anybody who doesn't know, we do all of our production in-house. Chris does everything from start to finish. So recording live drums would be an extension of the process that we've sort of built internally, but it's something we have had a lot of conversations about building towards.
For sure.
It's not off the table. I don't even think the thing holding it back from happening is you. I think it's me. Because I'd have to go get all the mics and I'd have to set up the room for it.
It's an equipment issue, not like a skill issue. If you
man, Long and McQuaid, man. Long and McQuaid is your friend.
When will you learn how to play drums?
Yeah. but it's on the table though. We've talked about it. Yeah.
And also, Mad Cow Rebel, which I got to say, I love the YouTube name. That's badass. Was having the front man the only one without glasses planned?
Funny enough, I actually do have glasses. I just never wear them. I just don't wear them. I'm pretty sure my prescription is unbelievably like outdated. So I just never wear my glasses. As soon as I graduated college, I was like, I'm never wearing these again.
We do the like 3v1 thing often too, because a lot of the time you three are wearing hats and then I'm just not wearing a hat. So there always seems to be an odd one out.
And then three of us have hair, but one of them doesn't.
And that's where the hats come in. That's where the hats sort of come in.
Yeah, a lot of 3v1. You're right.
You just wear your glasses next time.
I suppose I could. Yeah, but no, it wasn't.
And I gotta say, also, Sydney asked another question. She says, if you guys could switch instrumentals, who would play what?
Ooh, that's a great question.
I would definitely want to play drums for sure.
Drums.
I just feel like I have the physique for drums.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, we get it, Adam. You're super hot and sexy and attractive, and that's totally fine.
I like playing bass. I think I'm actually a better bass player than guitar player.
You're a really good bass player.
I'd be very happy playing bass.
Yeah. That means you as vocals, Nick.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm so sorry.
I've seen Tyler go off at karaoke before.
Yeah, if I get enough drinks in me, I can do something. But yeah, I feel like I'm more of like a backing vocals on a strings instrument. If I had to pick something other than drums, I'd be like guitar and backing vocals or something like that.
There's a time in like some of the previous bands that we worked in where I was doing some vocal stuff as well, but no.
I always encourage these guys. I'm like, you guys need to back me up more.
It's tough.
So.
And just following up on her question, I feel like it's kind of in the realm of this. So I feel like I'm just going to ask this one as one of my other questions. Obviously, you talked about who's going to switch what instrument, who's going to play what, but is there any instruments that you guys would like to implement into the band and who would actually play it? And you can't say cowbell because I know every punk band needs more cowbell.
So I'm always messing around with writing. So is Nick. So like we have been like, it's still a long way off, but like, so this is no announcement, but we do demo stuff every now and then. And I started playing piano a lot more like recently. Like I play it almost more than guitar now. And you told me that with our stuff going forward, you want me to sort of show off on piano a little bit more. I don't know if I would play it live because that's a whole other thing, but I do know that I would, not even necessarily adding another player, but I do want to add more piano in our stuff and just kind of add it to the dynamic range, if you will. But yeah, I really like piano.
I don't know. One of the things I like working with you though is that you're like pretty experimental with like the different sounds that you use. So I know we're talking about like scratch records and like all these different like exotic instruments and things like that, like bringing those into the fold.
On our album, the song Make Our Story at the end has an eru on it.
Yeah.
Which I think I was so stoked about it. I was like, we need an eru somewhere.
For sure.
But yeah,
there's a lot of experimentation.
A theremin would be cool too.
Mm-hmm.
A theremin would be very cool.
And one of the last fan questions I'm going to bring up, a local goon has a good one that I feel like this would be great to wrap up the fan Q&A. What is everyone's favorite part about being in a band?
Who wants to start with that one? Do we want to just work down the line?
Sure.
Tyler.
It's definitely not being broke. Honestly, I just love music and like seeing what we can create with all these like different tools at our disposal, like all this technology, the production stuff. It makes it, honestly, it's like always so inspiring to just like pick up an instrument and just start doing things, and then eventually it becomes, you know, a 12-song album. Is just so like fascinating.
Yeah.
What can be done with all these tools, you know.
Yeah, for me, I just really love songwriting. It's something that I'm going to do whether or not other people will put up with me doing it. But being in a band allows you to expand upon the creative process that you have limited within yourself. So, you know, we talked about adding other instruments and stuff. If it was just me writing and nobody else wanted to contribute, it'd be Oonga Boonga Caveman, guitars, drums, and bass. You know, that's really all I listen to is guitar music. And to be able to work with other people that can expand your horizons and build upon your own tastes is something that's really cool. And you can have a schematic in your head of what a song is going to look like, but until you sit in a room with 3 other people and work it out, it's going to become a completely different beast. So yeah, just having an outlet to write songs and see what we can make out of it is something really special.
For me, it's kind of a tie between 2 things. One of them sort of being what you were saying. Music is like, writing music is therapy for me. It's literally how I vent whether I'm feeling good about stuff and want to talk about it, or if I'm feeling bad about stuff and want to talk about it. That's what music's for me. I do it all the time. So I really like that. But I also, maybe this will sound bad, but I really like after we play a show and we play well and people talk to me. I don't get out enough. So when I get off stage and people are like, "Hey, good show," I'm like, "Thanks." It's just, I don't know. I'll admit it's validating, you know. So I like people coming up and talking to me because that's less work for me. I don't have to go up and talk to them.
Well, that's where I was kind of going to go with it too, because when we very first started even thinking about like writing stuff together, it was like really focused on like the social aspect of it, getting out there, playing shows, meeting people, stuff like that. So that's been one of my favorite parts. I love the show that we
Touching
played.
grass.
Yeah, touching grass for sure. Getting out there, it's been one of my favorite parts, just playing live. And getting to hang out with these guys, meet a bunch of new people too, for sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of getting on stage, touching grass, and meeting new people, Saturday, July 10th, you guys will actually be taking the stage in London, Ontario, as you'll be opening up for legendary pop-punk band Mest on their Canadian tour presented by Wham Productions. What can your fans actually expect from your performance come July 10th? And of course, where can we snag ourselves a ticket right now?
Well, in terms of snagging a ticket, I believe Mest's band website has links to every single show, the ones that we are and aren't a part of. Yep. Otherwise, the links to the individual venue websites will absolutely be able to bring you to a place where you can snag a ticket to these shows where we are lucky enough to share the stage with Mest.
And I got to say as well, it's going to be a phenomenal show. I mean, 8 dates. And I'm pretty sure this is like the first. Well, Mest has been to Canada quite a few times, but this is the first time they've been to Canada in a while, especially a Canadian tour. So it's definitely going to be a phenomenal Canadian tour by Mest.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a really good time. It's a full circle moment for me because I found out about Mest while in high school, while hanging out with these guys. So jump however many years later, and now we're playing a few shows with them. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's surreal.
Yeah, and in terms of what people can expect from us, we're lucky enough to land a spot on these shows with Mest because Wham Productions discovered us online and reached out because they felt that our sound would align well with Mest on stage. And so we're going to do our best to do that justice. And, like we've touched on, like we all have roots in that legendary 2000s pop punk sound. And there's definitely a lot of elements with that in our songs, and specifically the ones that we have chosen to play on this tour. And so we're going to do everything we can to do the genre justice.
We're thinking about sounding good. We think that might be in our plan.
Well, hopefully that's on your guys' drawing board, and I hope the Mest fans out there kind of get that.
I hope so too. It's a mystery to us as well.
But aside from, the amazing show coming up July 10th out there in London, what is next for December? Like, is there anything we happen to miss during this interview? Anything else you guys still want to touch on, talk about, or promote? We still got you here live on 99.9 FM tonight.
I think we basically covered it. Like we are kind of just demoing stuff, but that's all it really is right now. It's demoing, so like don't expect anything for a while. We're really happy with 12. And I know we kind of want to ride that out for a while. And I really hope people who have watched and listened are willing to go check it out because we're really proud of it. I just want to play more shows after the shows that we have coming up. Like I want to just keep doing it.
Yeah, I think we did really well with 12. I'm very happy with it. And like I said, I think playing live shows, sort of building that audience a bit, would be ideal for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And before we part, my apologies, guys. Go ahead. My bad.
Lots of shows.
Just shows. Yeah.
Well, before we actually part ways here, obviously I know how to follow December across all social media platforms. For the people down here in Eastern Ontario that might just be discovering you guys tonight, how do we go about following you across all social media platforms? That way we can stay updated on everything you guys currently got going on.
Yeah, sure. We're on all social media platforms at December or Deck/Ember. We can share our Linktree as well in the comments. That way you can get all our links, but feel free to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever platform that you use, Deck/Ember. That's it.
And I got to say, guys, first and foremost, thank you for giving not only myself, but the radio station airways a bit of your time. It was such an honor speaking with you guys, and hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon. But for now, have yourselves a phenomenal night.
Of course, thank you. This is great for us too.
Yeah, thank you so much, DJ Immortal. We're very honored to be on. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Hey, you're most certainly welcome, guys. Have yourselves a phenomenal night. It looks like Local Goon right there to save the day. Boom, on Insta. There you go. So, people that are watching,
Never thought I'd say
but-
that.
hey, you know what? There's a first for everything. So, and I'll say it with you. Thank you, Local Goon. But anyways, guys, thank you guys again so much, and have yourselves a wonderful night. We definitely shall talk again here soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.